Hello BookTube, Sarah here, and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm coming to you with my February 2017 TBR. I am so excited. I was stalking the challenge list on the romance readers group on, I almost said BookTube, on Goodreads for the posting of the February challenges. And finally they came out, and I saw them, and it was like 10:30, and I'm like, I really got to get to bed. And it was like an hour later. I'm still fiddling, like going through, like, what book could I pick? I'm like, I really need to get to bed now. So this was like last week. So now I know around the 20th I can go and check and see, if anything has actually been posted yet. So that is fun. So I've got the 10 challenges here. Again, if you guys are new to my channel, what I'm doing for the year of 2017 is there is a great group on Goodreads called the Romance Readers Challenges Group. I think the RR Romance Readers something. I will put it right here, whatever the actual name of it is, and you can go and search it out. And every month they have challenges, and they have 10 challenges. And you can compete in as many, not compete, but you can pick to do as many challenges as you want, from 1 to all 10. And they give you prompts, and then you go through and you pick books to go with those prompts. So I can tell you right now that for January, I have officially, as of recording this, which is on Saturday, but this is not getting posted till Monday, I have so far finished 9 books out of my 10 books. And the last book I have to finish is actually a novella. So it's like 60 pages, so it should be no problem for me to finish it. Sorry, this is like really bothering me. I'm not used to wearing cowl necks. Anyway. So let's jump in, and I have everything here on my tablet so I can tell you guys. And I will also, because the program that I used to use to put the pretty little picture here is no longer working. So I am looking for something else, but I think for right now we're just going to have to go with using my phone. So the first category, sorry guys, I'm awfully rambly today, I do apologize, is F for February. Essentially read a book that either has F in the title or starts with the letter F, or an author whose first or last name starts with the letter F. And the book that I picked, and how I look for these books generally, is that I have my TBR on Goodreads, and I have it sorted by oldest on my TBR to newest, and I start at the oldest, and I kind of just work my way through. That way I get some of my older books off my TBR, and, because if not, you just read the new stuff, and you never get to the older stuff. So the book that I picked is First Time and Forever by Sarah Morgan. I love Sarah Morgan. She's a great author. And this is the first book in the Puffin Island series. So there is the cover. Again, sorry for the glare, but it's the best I can do, guys. So this is just a contemporary romance. I believe Puffin Island, she grew up on the island, and she comes back and meets up either with her high school boyfriend or her college boyfriend. I don't really remember. I could be way off base, but that's generally the way these things go with these kind of contemporary romances. So I am really looking forward to reading this one. The next up on the list is, Happy Anniversary. Read a book that was published in February of any year, or read a book by an RRRC member who joined in February of every year. So they also give you the list of how to find all these members. And I found a member who joined in February of 2015, and she had well over 1,000 books shelved on Goodreads, so I thought, well, there's definitely going to be something in common. We had almost 40 books in common, which was very cool. So I was kind of going down the list, and I came across this book and went, wait a minute, I own this book? I didn't even know I owned this book. And I'm like, okay, that's the one I'm going to be reading. And it's Rock Redemption by Nalia Singh. This is the first book in the Rock Kiss series. Hello. Shirtless tattooed man on the cover. This isn't your mama's romance novel, I don't think. I'm pretty sure, actually, you can't see it in the picture, but when I was snagging the pictures off of Goodreads to put on my phone to show you guys, I'm pretty sure he also has his lip pierced, which is just not, no. Sorry, I keep getting text messages from my friends. But yeah, so there is that one. I really don't know what this is about. I believe he's a rock star, and well, that kind of goes without saying. And, I think she might be like someone that he knew in high school, maybe. I really don't know. Yeah, so that is the next book. Challenge number 3. Featured Author Challenge. Darynda, D-A-R-Y-N-D-A Jones. Read a book by this month's featured author, or by any author with her first or last name. Okay? So right off the bat, I have actually read one of this author's books. She writes a series, and I think the first book is called like first first grave to the left or to the right. It's a series. Then it's like second grave to the left, third something, fourth something. Kind of like the Stephanie Plum books where they are numbered and they're numbered in the title so you know what number in the series they are. I read one years ago. I read the first one years ago and it wasn't my cup of tea. There's nothing wrong with it. It was great writing and all that stuff, but the thing is that it's an urban fantasy paranormal, and that's just not my thing. I don't care for those. I don't mind paranormal. I read, the Heather Graham stuff, but the paranormal is like a small part of the whole of the novel, whereas this girl, I think it's like a vampire hunter, which doesn't do anything for me. So I actually looked at the author to see whether or not she had anything else that she wrote outside of that series, and she does, but there's still, again, the urban fantasy, which I really don't care for. So anyway, I decided not to go with that. So I thought, okay, I'm going to look for an author. Her first name's a little different, so I knew there wouldn't be an author with her first name necessarily. So I looked for, I must have somebody on my TBR with the last name Jones. And I don't. So I continued to look because they always give you lots of options. And the next one is, or read a book set in a school. Okay, that could be a YA maybe. I started thinking about that one. Or you could read any book published in 2009 or 2012. Because I believe this author won the Rita Award for romance in 2009 and 2012. So I was like, okay, maybe I can find a book published in one of those years. And wouldn't you know it? And I said this last month, guys, I was going to attempt to fit in my Crew of Hunters book every month into a regular challenge, and I did. So I'll be reading book number 6 in the Crew of Hunters series, The Unholy by Heather Graham. This book was published in 2012. So I am now 2 months. There is, one of the challenges is, again, for those of you new to my channel, is a reader's choice. So if I didn't have any other spot to fit this, I would go reader's choice. But the way I look at it, that's almost like that whole phone a friend thing from Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. It's like you're a cheat or you're out. I'm like, I really want to try as best as I can to fit these into categories every month. So now I'm 2 of 10. So let's see if I can keep it up for the rest of the year. But yes, this one is following another one of the team members that we were just introduced to in the last book, in book number 5. And I don't know which one that is yet. And because I haven't actually read the back of the book, but I'm pretty sure this one takes place in Hollywood, so that should be very exciting. I think it's something about the haunting of like an old theater or a movie studio, so it should be really good. I'm looking forward to it. It's Heather Graham. I haven't really found one that I didn't like yet. The next category is February celebrates Black History Month. Read a book, either fiction or nonfiction, with an African American main character, or read a historical romance. Now, I will be honest, and not because I have an issue with this, I don't have any books on my shelf that I'm aware of that feature an African American character. That's something I really need to rectify. I did read one last year, and that was A Tyranny of Petticoats, or Tyranny of Petticoats, and it was actually a YA anthology, and it wasn't bad. Some of the stories weren't that great. Some of them were good, but they did feature quite a number of African American characters. So had I not read that last year, that would have fit perfectly this year. But unfortunately, I ended up actually going with a historical romance. And this I'm actually happy about because it's giving me the chance now to read book number 3 in the Bridgerton series. And that will be An Offer from a Gentleman by Julia Quinn. This is almost like, if you can't tell from the cover, a Cinderella retelling. This is about the second brother, Benedict. All the characters, or all the kids in this series, are all named depending on the letter of the alphabet. Anthony, Benedict, Colin, Daphne was the first book. So it goes on like that through the 8 siblings. So you kind of know what birth order the siblings fall into, but this is the 3rd book and it's Benedict's. So she does jump around the siblings. It doesn't go in perfect order. But again, I believe this one's a Cinderella retelling of sorts. I think that she is a maid, and he is, of course, from a very well-to-do family. So I'm thoroughly looking forward to reading this one in February. Next up, sorry, my tablet just went to sleep. How dare it? Is February 5th is Super Bowl Sunday. Read a book with a main character who is an athlete. It doesn't necessarily have to be football. or a book with 2 words in the title that start with the same letter. For example, like Super Bowl Sunday. But I actually went with a sports romance, and that is Caught by You by Jennifer Bernard. This is the second book in a Love Between the Bases novel, a baseball romance. I read the first book, All of Me, I think it was called, or All of You, one or the other. I read the first one last year, and I really enjoyed it. Jennifer Bernard is a great author, so I'm really, really looking forward to getting to this one. It's about another member on the team, so this will be fun. February 14th is Valentine's Day. Read a romance, any type, or read a book with a heart on the cover. So as soon as I read this question, I'm like, I knew exactly what book I wanted to read. This book has been on my TBR for probably close to 3 years. I've been watching BookTube videos for about that long. Way back in the beginning of BookTube, it was mostly YA. So this is actually a new adult novel, and it is a retelling of Romeo and Juliet. But it wasn't that made me want to read this book. What actually really made me want to read this book, and maybe the Gordon, oh, he's going to put his 2 cents in, sorry guys. I do these things really without too much editing, or as little editing as humanly possible. But I didn't buy it for that reason. You guys know I'm not a huge fan of YA novels, or even new adult. I find a lot of them tend to be very much the same. This book was beyond everything else a cover buy. So I don't know if I've already said the title, because I did try and talk about this book a few minutes ago, and I really messed it up, so I've gone back now, and I'm re-recording this bit. So it is Bad Romeo, and it's by Lisa Raven. Is that cover not absolutely stunning? So there is a story behind this cover and this book that I want to tell you guys really, really quickly. So for those of you who don't know, if you're new, I am a knitter. I'm an avid knitter. I love to knit. And there's a website online which, to put it in perspective for you guys, it is the Goodreads for the knitting and crocheting community, and it's called Ravelry. And there are a lot of people who have groups on Ravelry. Well, one of the groups that I belong to is a woman who dyes yarn. And she dyes her own yarn out of her own home, and it's her small business, and her business is called Desert Vista Dye Works. Well, I'm a member of her group, and last year she did a series of yarn inspired by books. So every month she would give a category or a genre of book. February's was romance novels, and what she did was she posted, and she asked, those of us in her group, and there's a lot of people in her group, like I think like 1,000 or more, and to post like their favorite romance novel covers. And she was going to pick some of them to dye into yarn. So I thought, shot in the dark, let's give it a try. I posted this cover because, again, this cover I cannot get out of my head. I don't know what it is, but I just absolutely love it. So the end of February, or was it the end of January? I can't remember when it was. I get an email. Sorry, I'm a little thirsty. I get a message on the website from the woman of Desert Vista Dye Works, who tells me that she picked that as one of the yarns for February. And so this was last year. And because she picked my book, I won a skein of it. So tell me, this is not the neatest book-related thing. I just have to hold the 2 of them up together. Like, come on, right? So this is actually what's considered to be self-striping. So do you see all the colors in there? There's red and pink and purple and blue. This yarn will stripe in those colors as I knit it up. So one of my goals for 2017 for my knitting is to actually knit a pair of socks a month. February, I'm picking these socks. I'm finally going to knit this yarn because I'm going to be reading this book. So that is just super duper exciting, and I cannot wait. So for those of you who might also knit, who have followed me over from my knitting podcast, again, I'm sorry guys. This color is back up and available in her shop. I will leave a link in the down bar below to go and check it out if you're interested in purchasing a skein for yourself. This is literary yarn. So there you go. Bad Romeo is the name of it. Pretty cool, right? So anyway, that was just a little something fun I kind of wanted to share with you guys. I hope you don't mind. Question number 7. February 17th is Random Acts of Kindness Day. Read a book with a main character whose name starts with either R, A, or K for random act of kindness. Tell us the name. Or read a book someone lent you, gifted you, or you treated yourself. So I went through the list and I started with, you know, the oldest books that I have, and the book that has actually been on my TBR the longest. The main character's name is Andy, A-N-D-I, Burke. And that book is Sweet on You by Darlene Panzera. This is the first book in the Cupcake Diaries series. How fun does that look and adorable? So this is my book for Random Act of Kindness. Next one is February 22nd. Is traditionally George Washington's birthday. Remember how he chopped down a cherry tree and couldn't tell a lie about it? Read a book with a tree on the cover or a book with a generally honest character. Well, I wasn't too sure about which books I had that had generally honest characters on it, so I went with a book instead that had a tree on the cover. Now, again, this might be the Romance Reader's Challenge, but these are not all romance novels. These, I find, are so very open-ended that I can use pretty much any book. The book I actually picked is one that, again, that's been on my TBR for a while, and it's called The Snow Child by Edwin Ivy. I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with this book. And look, trees on the cover. There's also a cute little fox that you can't see. But yes, I am very much looking forward to this. This book has been around BookTube, so I'm sure you guys are all very familiar with the story. And I'm really looking forward to finally getting to this one. This is another one that BookTube made me buy it, that I heard about, and then it came up as a daily deal last year, and I immediately snagged it up. So, next one, February 27th, is Polar Bear Day. Side note, it's also my niece's 7th birthday on the 27th of February. Read a book set in a cold climate or a book with a predominantly white cover. Well, I'm pretty sure I hit both nails on the head with this one. And the book that I picked, come on up here, is The Winter People by Jennifer McMahon. Again, this is one that's made its rounds on BookTube. I'm pretty sure it is a thriller novel, horror novel, I think, which is generally something I don't read. But this sounded really intriguing and a lot of people seem to like it, so I am going to pick it up and see what I think about it. But yeah, that's pretty much a predominantly white cover, so fits the category. And last but not least, question 10, Reader's Choice. What I do for my Reader's Choice books is essentially I go to a number randomizer. I type number randomizer into Google, and it comes right up on the Google page. And I put in 1 through however many books are on my TBR. Whatever number it tells me, that's the book I pick. And for this month, I got Cowgirls Don't Cry by Silver James. This is the first book in the Red Dirt Royalty series, a Silhouette Desire novel. I'm pretty sure this is that she owns a farm and he wants to buy it, so he's trying to seduce it out from her, essentially. So yeah, I am looking forward to this one. But anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Sorry if it was a little extra rambly, but you did get to see the Gorin, which is always a thrill for everybody, I'm sure. And let me know in the comments below if you guys have read any of these books and what you thought about them. Or let me know some of the books that you guys are reading in February, because I'd love to know. And until my next video, guys, take care and happy reading. Bye. And just beyond the camera right now, Garrett is very gingerly picking up the Nicholas. He doesn't like to be picked up. Sorry, that distracted me. Distracted by cat. So yeah.